Hello everybody, welcome back. Today is just going to be a garage update. We got a lot of little things happening here and there. Nothing super die hard to make a focused video out of, but I'll just show you the updates, what's going on in the shop. So if you've seen by the thumbnail, I just picked up some interesting parts the other day, and for the 302 engine we're building, and I'll pan you over and I'll show you what's going on. Guys, I picked up some Y303 old Ford Motorsports style SVO aluminum cylinder heads for our Project 302 here. So I paid fair market value for them for what they were. Nothing screaming deal, but here in the UK, these these are the first set I've ever seen come up available for sale, and I love the original Ford stuff, and so that's what we're going to use. I think is a great focus point for going forward with this engine build. So, if you can see, there's something different about this head versus this head. Give you a couple potatoes. And if you can see, we have the solid junction bar for where the pedestal rockers bolt down, and here is the divided junction bar. So, I think these heads, based on the guy that I got them from, they were raced at one time. And I'm guessing at one time one of the heads got damaged and they got a replacement, and I believe that this is the slightly newer style head, but I could be wrong. I don't know. You can't really decode any dates on it or anything like that like a normal casting. So there's identical other than that as far as I can tell. So yeah, we're gonna run with it. So they had over here on the bench, they had some monster double valve springs, titanium retainers, 10-degree locks. They still have the 194 and 155 valves. I got, one head's cleaned up anyway, so I just had to clean the others up. Had to use the lousy, they call them Teflon valve guide oil seals, but I don't even think they're Teflon. They're like some plastic, and they last a few hundred miles and they start leaking. We're going to put some Viton seals in it. These are the spring seats. I just got them all organized. It actually came with these, which is quite interesting. I've never seen them other than in pictures. Competition cams. I don't know if you can see there on the base. Pedestal mount, adjustable pivot rocker arms. So these are kind of cool, and they've even been kind of professionally clearanced for the large springs. So it's interesting. They have these, this is like the traditional pedestal mount. If you have like the Motorsport 1.7 rockers, it's kind of like a pressed metal stand. It's still steel, still magnetic, but these ones have this kind of smaller diameter, like legit billet steel stand. So that's kind of cool. Just working with vintage stuff, it's gonna be kind of fun. So these are probably going to go back on here, but I'm definitely going to have to get different springs, because these things are like 2-inch installed height is what they are set up as. It's 150 psi on the seat going up. If you have a 1/2-inch lift cam, it's still 380 pounds, and over 400 pounds on the valve spring if you're over a touching 0.6 lift. So I don't know what they were running, but I think it was something aggressive, because these heads have been through the ringer. They've probably been skimmed as much as you can skim these heads and still get away with it. So they were trying to bump compression, I believe. You can tell there's a lot of carnage from stuff going wrong and hitting the bottoms of the heads, but the seats are good, the valves are good. The valves have been all replaced. These are all Manley valves. So they look like they all been set up by a professional shop. They got numbers stamped in every one of them, and so it's going to be a cool project with these. I think we're gonna get that F303 cam from John with the high RPM nature of these heads. I think I'm going to use this intake, because it was with my $40 swap meet score that was using on my run stand for getting engines running, but the port match is just so nice. Let me throw up a picture or two here for you. I think it's just going to work so well. I think when I paint this kind of old Ford or traditional Ford blue, Ford corporate blue, get it all dressed out nice. Gonna have a nice set of aluminum heads and intake with a Holly 4-barrel on it, and I think it's going to appeal to a lot of people. So we're going to put a front sump oil pan on it to fit in like an early Ford Mustang or something like that, and that's going to be the way forward for what we're going to do. So yeah, I don't know if I'll get my money back out of the heads versus what I paid, but I'll enjoy what I'm doing, putting it together and trying to make it all work. So we're going to do a little bit of cleanup on the valve seats, verifying a lot of things, and but yeah, it shouldn't be that hard to get this thing together. So now that I think I got a focus for it, but definitely be going regular 302, but it's going to be a high RPM nature 302. So with the F303 cam, it is zero overlap, so it should still idle well, but it's going to be over 3,000. This thing is going to zing. So that's what we're going to try to build it for. So, pressing on with other bits of projects. I got the pistons pressed off the rods bead blasted. They look absolutely beautiful. So a little bit of cleanup and figure out which pistons I'm going to get, and we'll move on from there. Got the main caps cleaned up. These are the ARP. I had a brand new set of head bolts for it, so just busted that open just so I could bolt the heads down to the block. We got a new timing chain. Crank still got to get cleaned up a little bit. Got core plugs, little bits and pieces of stuff here and there and everywhere, but it's all going to start taking shape sooner or later. But pistons are next. That's what's going to really focus the build from here on out. So let's see what I can find, what's in stock. But yeah, we're with Thunderbird Turbo Coupe engine. I don't know where I left off at. We ordered a timing cover from the States, and it ended up being cracked when it got here, so I just took my little Sawzall and carved it out and used it the best that I could based on what we had. I mean, it sucks my buddy paid a fair bit of money because these covers are only available used anymore, and it showed up cracked and there's really nothing you could do about it. So, because we turn the light on here, we really need a timing cover, if nothing else just for the timing marks, because that's how it's gives, unless you buy like a billet timing pointer for like 60 bucks and all you get is the numbers. So, but we're going with that. I did manage to get the drain, so we got a female flanged drain and a 45 coming out. I had to shorten up the hose by about 1 inch. That's just a little bit of masking tape there. So, but yeah, the drain is clearanced. The bolts are back tight. You got spinny action again, and we're going to be one step closer. So the drain is all taken care of. So spark plug wires just on and routed. I'm just kind of feeling things out. But the big thing that I have to work on, if we ever plan on running this on the engine stand, is the power steering pump. Because if you've ever run a power steering pump dry or not hooked up, you can kill them really quickly. So I got to come up with a way to be able to spin the water pump. I want to spin the alternator to make sure it works, and the power steering has to be some kind of idler. So I have this old power steering. This is the pump. This just doesn't have the housing on it. So I want to try to see if I can gut it and just make it a bearing and put the pulley on here and just have it spin and take the place of that pump for when it's on the engine stand here. But yeah, so that's what's going on in the garage. I wish I had more that I could tell you. We're waiting on parts still, and just stick with us. Project's coming soon. The weather is getting slightly better, but it was just raining on and off today. Couldn't get the car out and do things that I wanted to do. But anyway, I hope to see you guys soon and with some more updates, and thanks for following along. Catch you soon.